o ka uola hae ke akua e nana mai ka mau pula pula e ola kaniko ahau maka ihi ole a palala uhala a ka ui ka pu ane ane a laila lave aku oe a u i ke alo wa ke ae
Velina me ke aloha, our new strategic plan, Mana I Mauli Ola, or Strength to Well-Being, is a document that will guide the work of our organization for the next 15 years. This strategic initiative includes a renewed focus on areas of need in the Native Hawaiian population: educational pathways, economic stability, quality housing, and health outcomes. We believe that Native Hawaiians should have a voice in determining the needs of their own communities. This is the dawn of a new era at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. With the wisdom of our ancestors, we can do great things for our people. Ho'oulu lahui aloha. Let us raise a beloved lahui. Me ka mahalo nui ki a kuapu.
Our ohana, our mo'omehiu, and our āina are what's most important to our communities. These foundations resonate deeply with me that everything comes back to strengthening of our families, our mo'omehiu, and our āina, as well as the kohua. We need something very strong to stand on.
Ohana is instrumental to all aspects of our community empowerment. If we're thinking about the long term in terms of the next generations of leaders, we need to start them at an early age. It's becoming more common in our community, in our schools. The spark to start off cultural practices and relationship with āina, it really needs to start now at the beginning of family when a child is born.
We have research that shows when our families are positively engaged with their children and their youth's educational learning environments or their educational learning, that they do better. They have better or positive academic and social outcomes. And those are the reasons why integrating all of those three, āina, mo'omeheu, and ohana, are important for achieving the outcomes associated with educational pathways.
The framework that OHA presents in the strategic plan is a valuable one because it's one that speaks about relationships, tying back into our mo'omeheu and the behaviors and values of our ohana in the community. Through education, through many of the practices, the strategic plan targets to rebuild the values that come from our ohana, from our mo'omeheu, and rebuild the relationships that we have with our environment.
These are really old ideas that come all the way from our cosmology, from our origins and beginnings, from our mythologies and stories that tell of our relationship with our ancestors.
Well, when we look back to our kukun, when we think of ancestral wisdom, and I stand here with a babbling brook of a stream behind me and that ripple, I'm reminded of our Olelo No'eau, Mohari Kawai Kamako Kapua, that the faces of the flowers will unfurl in the waters. That where you have a richness of environment, you are certain to have a thriving people. These connections that we are making now to our culture, to our āina, to really our worldview, really extends our mole, our taproot. We will topple as a people if we don't have a sense of rootedness to who we are. And as we take advantage of opportunities in the present day to really express ourselves as Kanaka, then we will become the best versions of ourselves.
We know from research that Native Hawaiian students who are in culture-based educational settings and or āina-based educational settings have stronger connections to their culture. They have better outcomes on various educational academic measures, and they have better attitudes toward learning. The first strategy is to support the development and use of educational resources for all Native Hawaiian lifelong learners in schools, communities, and ohana. The second strategy is to support education through Hawaiian language medium education as well as Hawaiian-focused charter school education. So our third outcome is to have more Native Hawaiians engaged in traditional learning systems that really reestablish or maintain our cultural identity and connection to culture.
Part of rebuilding the Hawaiian worldview, the Hawaiian perspective, is reorganizing the way that we construct the educational experience and reshape, reform youth to actually resemble where they come from and to feel more pride and less negativity towards our own individual identity and collective identity. We use the OHA funds for many different expenditures, but the main two are transportation and for staffing. Those are very important, as we know, as many of our kids live in areas that are far from the schools, so it provides opportunity to access Kawaihona from farther distances out into Makaha and Kia'au. And for staffing, I always equate staffing to opportunity, and that the more folks that you have, the higher percentage of quality that you can potentially pull out of your programming. When you bring children to school, school is an institution that has become legitimized as a place of learning and as a place to build excellence and to put folks forward into the real world. And so this idea of reestablishing normalcy in Hawaii as Hawaiian, that it's reestablishing a Hawaiian normal, that our ways, our language, our beliefs, our culture can be very valuable to establishing a new future for them.
Probably the greatest value that I see and appreciate about a Hawaiian-focused charter school education is that I have an opportunity to positively affect lives of kiddos who are just like me when I was little and inspire them long term and help them see that these po'ohiwi, these shoulders are here for them to stand on as well, and that I'm gonna be here.
Our school is like a family, like everything's so family orientated, and it's like we're so close with each other, and we're all Hawaiian and we're learning a lot about our culture, and culture is a big part of our identity.
Fostering that within Haumana and helping to build relationships, long-term relationships with ohana, it's probably one of the greatest values of working, living, learning, and just being in a Hawaiian-focused charter school environment. OHA has been very helpful across all of these years in the areas of policy and legislation and then advocacy. It's been really awesome and super helpful. And as a leader and as a kumu who is going in front of certain Senate committees or House committees to share testimony in support or against certain things that directly affect my kula or our funding, it's been really helpful and really inspiring to have OHA's support in those areas as well. Feels like, oh, somebody got your back, yeah?
Health outcomes is something that we've always cared about and we will forever care about. In our first strategy under health, we are looking at the general well-being of Native Hawaiians, and this includes all aspects of their well-being. So not just the physical, but the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual health. We care about things like obesity still, but we're pulling up more at the systems level. So you'll see us doing more advocacy. We plan to do more partnering, as well as we plan to identify partners that are acting at the systems level as well.
Health is a huge issue in building this bridge between indigenous wisdom and the 21st century. Hawaii is at the precipice of a point in our history where we need to go back and restore a balance of how we produce food and not rely on offshore opportunities. And hopefully in the process, improve the plight of our āina and the preservation of our āina so that we can produce food mauka to makai, because that is inextricably intertwined to our personal health. And with that also comes both the physical nurturing as well as the spiritual nurturing, and they go hand in hand.
When we have that understanding of the importance of growing your own food, knowing where it comes from, having that strong connection to our āina, then you can reach towards ma'alamalama, which is enlightenment.
So much has been lost since the influx of Western culture that the Hawaiian Kane identity went to the side. And so we tried to bring that back. And that's why we create different cultural programs, because that's what attracts them, the cultural activities. And within that cultural activity, we study their health, their behaviors, and from that, develop a series where they can take better care of themselves. Because if they can't take care of themselves, then it's very difficult for them to take care of their family and their children and their wives.
We have the Native Hawaiian Health Centers that have been established. They've been stood up and are now trying to deliver all of these primary care and preventative care in a Native Hawaiian way, using Native Hawaiians.
OHA's emphasis and their support over the years in allowing organizations like mine to be able to tap into their resources in partnership to realize that kind of a vision, I think is coming to a head.
Family, that is completely tied to health. Family is your single best support system. And when that ohana is broken, the support system is broken. And then poho.
If we say that ohana is important, if we say that our culture, our cultural values, our language is important, all of these things teach us that honoring our ancestors is part and parcel of the expectation of who we are as Kanaka. In our ohana, we pay respect to our elders. Those elders whom have gone before us also deserve a level of respect, honor, and dignity that we could and should afford them. And how we're able to do it is by implementing the kind of support that is necessary to facilitate Malama Iwi Kupuna. It is of the utmost importance for us to Malama Iwi Kupuna because those are the people whom we descend from, and it is through them that we claim our legacy and our heritage of being Kanaka.
The housing crisis that we're experiencing in Hawaii is a multi-layered problem that will require a multi-pronged approach because no one entity can solve this problem alone.
Affordable housing is arguably the biggest challenge that Hawaii is facing right now.
There's a lot of vulnerable Hawaiians in our community who are low income, kupuna, on fixed income, who think that they're not going to be able to achieve home ownership.
A lot of people can't do it without the help. And there's a lot of people out there who they're moving, they're homeless if it gets bad enough, and they're struggling. This is my home. I do not want to move to the mainland. I don't want to be homeless. That is my fear, even from when I was a child. Prices and rents. Rent, it goes crazy. And I was like, I can't afford the rents that's out there now. I was like 100-something on the Hawaiian Homelands list. And there was only 15 lots, 15. I got called. And I started crying because my husband had just passed away the week before. And I wanted this journey to be with him. So he's with me, but not physically. So this is a time to do something.
There are programs that are available that are funded by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs to help these families get to where they want to be.
The Office of Hawaiian Affairs intends to leverage partnerships in order to be able to increase the number of Native Hawaiians that have access to affordable rental units and have Native Hawaiians achieve home ownership.
It's good of OHA's funds that they're giving money to these organizations because they are helping Hawaiian people.
The first grant that PUA took advantage of was the Nanakuli Housing Corporation's Homebuyer Education and Financial Literacy Program. OHA provided funding to provide training to 500 Native Hawaiian beneficiaries. The second grant that she also took advantage of was the grant with Honolulu Habitat for Humanity.
Our mission is to build affordable housing in the communities on Oahu. When she applied for us, we were already building some houses in that cul-de-sac, and we wanted to get her in that queue as quickly as possible.
I'm getting a house, and all I'm paying for basically is the supplies, not the labor. And if I have to put in hours, my own labor, I will. For a house? Are you kidding? I'll do anything.
Homeownership can really allow a family to get a level up and thrive and take care of their ohana and set down roots in the community and be a part of a community and build assets and wealth through homeownership and be able to send their children off to college and not necessarily have to worry about the roof over their head and how they're going to be able to pay their rent or pay their landlord the next month.
It's not just about building a house, it's about building that community. And so we all need to come together to work on keeping families in the communities that they were raised in, that their families are in, making those communities stronger.
At the same time, OHA will be supporting legislation that will positively affect housing supply and housing costs. OHA will also work to strengthen the implementation of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act.
The affordable housing situation, the homeless situation, it's not something that one organization is going to solve. It's going to take a collaboration. It's going to take that community coming together. OHA, DHHL, Habitat, elected officials, communities. It's like a picnic. If everybody brings something, we'll all eat. And that's what's going to take to solve the problem.
All of these things together will greatly enhance Native Hawaiians' ability to achieve housing stability and live in Hawaii.
Alia, oo nani. Makakaw, ay. Oo nani ka.
Economic stability is about being able to provide for your family and sustain that. The strategy is to help make aware of all of the different avenues and options for helping your family sustain itself and not have to live paycheck to paycheck. Dealing with emergencies or dealing with a mindset of saving, a mindset of long-term planning. And often when we live paycheck to paycheck, we don't have those mindsets. Our focus is on the next meal for the day. There are business opportunities in Hawaiian communities and for Hawaiian communities and by Hawaiian communities.
One of our components within āina ecology is our food service business arm, which is Kamoa's Kitchen, Mea and Mo'olelo. The fundamental aspect of the Kamoa's Kitchen is connecting with local farmers, other local businesses, making partnerships. We build the capacity within our community with like-minded other business owners and community organizations so that there is a collective movement forward that ties together families, communities, and our environment. We partner with all kinds of community organizations. It's the only thing that makes our work viable on a large scale. You know, with the Waianae Coast Comprehensive, Ka'ala Farms, this beautiful space we're in today, Ma'o Farms, Ho'aino, Makaha, also with Ho'ouluaina up in Kalihi, and even Waianae High School. On our truck, we serve a lot of poke raw fish, and we're proud to be able to access some of the most delicious limu manuea, ogo from right here in our community that's grown by the students. You know, it's a program that supports education, it supports our students, it supports home-based economics here in Waianae Coast.
There are opportunities certainly for business and capital. For example, the creative economy. Hawaiians are very prominent in the creative economy in terms of film and industry and fashion. We do have the Native Hawaiian Revolving Loan Fund that provides capital and access. But more innovatively is to think about how those economic opportunities manifest in our communities. You know, can families sustain themselves on a practice, or do they have to go and get a 9-to-5 job? And often we have our families who do that, right? They go to their job at the hotel or at the government, and then they come on the weekend and they farm or they fish or they practice other things. And sometimes we think that's just the way it is, but often that's not the way they want it. They'd rather be farming, fishing, living, teaching their children on the land. So those are the kinds of opportunities we want to make sure everyone can make those choices.
You know, we did some excellent projects over the past years with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And one of our really strong early partners was KUA. They're a Native Hawaiian organization that works with fish ponds, work with communities to manage fish ponds and estuaries and fishing strategies and management policies within communities. So they really go and build capacity in those places. The Native Hawaiian concept of kukuluku mohana, pulling of strengths, it was a term used to gather the masses to get a certain task or goal accomplished. And we need to continuously look back to our ancestors and their wisdom so that we can move back towards that reciprocal connection we have between people and between our environment and our culture. And so that idea of bringing all these groups and organizations and businesses together is fundamentally that. It's a kukuluku mohana. It's a pulling of strengths. And when we utilize that in the right way, we'll be able to do anything for sure.
In 15 years, we would like to see a thriving, healthy relationship between Kanaka and āina. What will this look like? What does this feel like? It really is a healthy collaboration, a healthy pilina that will provide healing to our lahui. It's very important that we allow for the voice to be heard, for us to collaborate with lahui in how we manage our lands.
I'm hopeful that by 2035 that we can get to a place where we are 50% dependent on our own ability to grow food in the islands. If we can move in that direction, I know it is ambitious, but I think it is definitely doable.
In 15 years, we'd want to make sure that we do have more Native Hawaiian students, right? We have an increase in Native Hawaiian students who are entering educational systems ready to learn. We have an increase in Native Hawaiian students who are graduating from high school and who are not only confident but ready for college or career or community and are successful at that.
In 15 years, I'd like to see a very well-connected network of partners working together to help to meet the housing needs of Native Hawaiians. In addition, that means that Native Hawaiians feel comfortable accessing these resources so they can achieve home ownership and that they know about the resources that are available to help them.
If we can, as a part of OHA Strategic Plan, bring back the scorecard and the leadership that really creates a society where we are practicing those Ahua values, it seems to me that would be an amazing contribution.
I would love to see some very pono policies being made at OHA to go through legislation to holomua our people, our lahui.
I would say that we are successful in the next 15 years if we can supply the next generation with a true choice. Because we cannot choose right now. We only give in one way. We give the next generation the tools to choose. And that means understanding the world that has eventuated upon us and understanding the world that was taken. Because through that true choice is empowerment.
The overall goal of the strategic plan are thriving lahui, abundant lahui. And what does that look like? For us, it looks like educational sovereignty. Our families are able to educate in the ways that they want to, in the language that they want to. It looks like holistic well-being, health as well as āina well-being, as well as spiritual well-being. It looks like our families are able to take care of their needs. It looks like happy and abundance in spirit and resource and resilience where there's not scarcity, and really everything that we do from education to health to housing to economic stability really should be focused on a thriving and abundant lahui.
We're in a revolution of consciousness. What we're looking for is the truth. The truth is, there is man and there is the environment. One does not supersede the other. The breath in man is the breath of Pake.
The breath of the land is the life of the people. The breath of the land is the life of the people. The breath of the land is the life of the people. The breath of the land is the life of the people. I've seen too much struggle, I've seen so much life. Grant me the wisdom to make
is merely the caretaker of the land that maintains his life and nourishes his soul. Therefore, the āina is sacred. The church of life is not in a building. It's in the open sky, the surrounding ocean, and the beautiful soil.
As a something of this land, I was raised to overstand. If there's no fruit, there's no tree, there's no branches, no leaves. Iulu no kalala ikikumu, we must know the source from which we go. Grant me the knowledge I pray to overstand. All it takes to protect this land. Bless my eyes that I may see all Mama Aina needs from me. Oh my, yeah. The breath of the land is alive.